Greetings everybody, my name's Pieta Valentine and I've written 2 books, The Resident's Voice from a Dementia Unit and The Resident's Rise from a Dementia Unit. And I'm doing a series of videos to help family and friends assist people in dementia facilities so that they can have a happier, better quality of life with some positive practical techniques. So with my background being physiotherapy, it's very focused on ergonomics and helping people in this way. So today the topic is going to be walkers and aids. Now, when you go into a dementia unit, most of the ladies, well actually, out of 30 people, generally about 25 are ladies, 5 are men. Often they're in their late 80s average. I think about 85 is about the average age of most people in dementia units. And the 2 characters, or the character that I'm working with for this video, is an elderly lady called Marge actually, and she's 89 going on 90. She's about 5'2", but when she's bent over on her walker she's 5 foot. And so we're going to speak about her in terms of this series of videos. So in terms of the walking frame, say with Marge, or Granny as I've referred to her in previous videos, in terms of the walker, there's a number of things. Firstly, make sure that the walkers the wheels are oiled so that they're free flow, that they don't sort of crunch along and they get stuck, and that it's safe and that it's held together well, and that none of the parts are loose or adrift. So it's good, it's strong, it's stable, and that the person has good grips on the walker so that they can, for their hands as they're walking along, so if they get sweaty or hot they're not sort of slipping around. Now with the walker, it's important that it's distinguishable from the other many walkers that will be in the unit. In a dementia unit you can have up to, if there's 30 people, easily 10 walkers, easily, often 12, 13, can you imagine? There's hardly enough space anyway, then you've got 13, 14 walkers that you have to put away. Every time there's lunch or breakfast or dinner, they all have to be packed away and brought back again, and it's actually a whole mission. Walkers are a mission, trying to find, they get lost, where are they? Are they in your room, dear, like, the other end of the building? Are they? Where are they? So the best thing is to make them identifiable. These, just like, remember, I think it was video 2, made the door identifiable to the room, make the walking frame identifiable. So put something on it that is that your mother will recognise, whether it's if she was into sewing or ribbons or some sort of material, little creative something, or a little ornament, or use your imagination, just something colourful so that it's identifiable and different, completely different from all the other walkers in the unit, so that it will be easily identifiable, not just for your mother but also for the staff. Now the second thing is aids. So that's the walker. Oh, a little bit more about the walker actually. They can be very handy though. For example, a lot of the women that have walkers, they can put what do they put in it? Tons of cards from friends, birthday cards, magazines, books. Magazines are a big one. Books sometimes if they can read, chocolate, biscuits, tissues. They get crammed, I tell you, they get crammed. In fact, that's another subject. Always lots of different subjects morphing into one topic and then another topic, but I'm just trying to keep them as streamlined as I can. So with the basket on the walker, okay. Now most walkers have them, or many walkers have them. They're very handy for the women, and they just love their basket because like their handbag, aren't they? They go a big handbag and they've got everything in it. Now if they get too out of hand, if the family's not cleaning them out, because sometimes they put in all their ornaments and tissues from the table and they just get all clogged up, unless the family's sorting them out, staff can take them away because they're too much of a bother to have to tidy up. You know, I mean, they're so busy anyway. So this is a really important subject, to keep the walkers free of junk or stuff, so that your mother can keep it. You know, it's a facility. It's a measure of freedom for her to be able to have her walker carrier. Without it, it's just another loss, isn't it? So relatives are the gatekeepers for their parent, or to be able to navigate, you know, what's important, and any little liberty that's available that they can keep for the parent. It really goes a long way to them being able to manage in a dementia unit, and walkers or baskets on the walker is one of them. So that's the walker. Also, walkers can be very handy as seats, both in the bedroom for visitors or even in the lounge. You know, if the visitor isn't too big and that wide in the hips, you know, if they are, they might not fit in it. But often visitors will draw up the walker with the seat on it, sit next to mum, and then they don't have to go and get a big bulky armchair to sit next to her, which takes up a lot of room. The walker seat's a lot smaller, and so it doesn't take up too much room. So it's easier to find a nifty way of getting in and being able to sit with her. So that's about the walker. So lots of people, honestly, once a person gets into their late 80s, especially when they're in dementia units, I'd say the majority really are on a walker. Not that they necessarily need it entirely. I mean, often they'll just walk around in their bedroom, especially where they're familiar with everything, without the walker, and that's fine if they're stable on their feet. But most of the time they're being prescribed a walker, and no harm done really. But the one thing you have to watch is that walking around with a walker all day, tension in the neck and shoulders, kyphosis, stiff neck, yes, it happens. So that's why it's really important for people, especially that are on a walker, that they join in the exercises that are held twice daily in a dementia unit, if you can believe it. And they have lots of exercises for stretching the arms above, you know, right up high and back and round and whatever, to specifically to avoid all the stiffness of the shoulders. So it is important with people that are on walkers that they do stretch their joints, stretch their shoulders, stretch their arms, because if they don't, you know, it's like the taxi kyphosis, you know, driving all day, same thing. They'll just become stuck in that position, which means then they'll get a sore neck and you know, and they look about 20 years older. Everyone that sort of can't stand up straight always looks older, don't they? And also they lose their balance. I mean, if you can't stand up straight, if you're sort of stuck, half stuck, you know, kyphosis and sore neck and everything's painful. I mean, it's not great for your balance. So all of these things play into each other. Now, the second thing is aids, hearing aids, glasses, and in particular. Now, this is not my specialty. I've got a background in physio, but just a few practical points. In terms of glasses, glasses are really important, prescription glasses. Now, a lot of the time, people in dementia units don't have glasses. People think they can't read, they don't need them, why waste the money? It's actually not true. Most people can read, in a limited sense, at least their name on the door of their room when they're walking along the corridor, which is actually really important. And we'll do another video on reading in particular, because it's actually a really important aspect. But, you know, with a bit of training and encouragement, people in dementia units can read. So it's important that they have glasses so they can, otherwise they're denied that privilege. Can you imagine not being able to read, even just the headlines of the newspaper or headlines in magazines? It's like enormous deprivation, not being able to read. So glasses are so important. In fact, I had one lady, and she was lovely. She was an a nurse in her day, and she was a solo mother with 2 sons. And she was, I think, 93, and she hadn't had glasses, and the boys decided to get her a pair of glasses when she was 93. these lovely red framed glasses, and she put them on, and the happiness, I've never seen anything like it. You know, she could see, she was just the shine. Oh, she was so delighted. I can see. And so she grabbed the newspaper that I was reading and put it up and, you know, read the headline to everyone. See, I can see, and this is what it's saying. And she could read. Gosh, she wouldn't have read for ages because she didn't have any glasses. This is what it's saying today for the news. And usually very shy, she'd never say a thing. It was the most marvellous experience. So glasses are important. Now, with glasses, they're usually kept at the back of the nurse's station overnight because, again, they can go missing. So if you come in to see your mother in the morning and she's not there, then the glasses aren't there, just go to the nurse's station and chances are they'll be at the back. Now, another little maintenance thing is to clean the glasses. If you can just keep a little glass cleaning rag with you, or in mum's room, good idea, in the top drawer by the bed or something, so that you can just clean the glasses for my mum when you visit, because all these things don't always get done and they all take time, but we all like to have clean glasses when we read, so that's the thing with glasses. Hearing aids. Okay, hearing aids are expensive. They get lost very easily. They're tiny, can you imagine? Oh, like you can imagine, where all the places where hearing aids can get lost. It's the poor staff trying to find hearing aids when they get lost. Imagine in a place of 30 rooms that could be stuck down the side of chairs, could be anywhere. So it's really stressful for staff actually trying to find these items. So with hearing aids, it's fabulous if they work, but be aware that some residents are uncomfortable, they don't like them, they pull them out, they throw them out, and then they get lost. And sometimes speaking clearly, enunciating clearly, eye contact, these aspects help enormously with people that are deaf. But there's a lot of background noise in a dementia unit too. Or, you know, in the kitchen and trolleys and medication rounds, I mean doctors' rounds, visitors, telephone, very noisy. So it's hard with all that background noise when you have hearing aids. There's a ring, so a lot of the time the residents don't like having hearing aids in. But for those that do like having the hearing aids in, and they work well and they can hear, great. Get a pair of hearing aids, a second pair if they need it. If not, then just be, you know, mindful to speak at a volume they can hear. Check with them they can hear you. Ask them, Mum, can you hear me? Is my volume okay? Enunciate clearly with your lips, because they'll do a bit of lip reading, consciously or unconsciously. And that way, as long as they can understand you, you know, that's the main thing. And that they can pick up on what they want to pick up on. But the reading is very important, because if they're not hearing conversation quite so well, if they can read the paper, read magazines, read the subtitles on the Netflix programs, then that gives a whole lot more richness, a whole lot of material and added variety and entertainment and knowledge in their lives, which is very valuable. So we'll definitely go through that later on. But for now, the walker, the glasses keeping them clean, something identifiable on the walker, and the hearing aids, just making sure that if you get a second pair that they're going to work, and that, you know, everything's set up so it can, that the person can be comfortable with them. So that's the end of walkers, hearing aids and glasses, and good luck with that. I know this is really time consuming, it's a big effort, especially for the power of attorney, who often ends up doing all of this. So I do hope that families out there, brothers and other sisters and friends, can just help out with these really time consuming appointments, like going to the hearing clinic or to the optician, or to get a pair of shoes. I mean, it's quite a hefty effort having to arrange all these things. So especially while all of this is getting set up, really help out the power of attorney, because they'll have enormous amount on when the person first goes into the unit, all of which is explained, by the way, in the epilogues of the Resident's Voice, the first book that I wrote, which is just really more administrative. So I don't really think I need to do a blog on that, because it's a bit more boring, really. It's like just the basics of what you need to do and understand in a unit. Well, maybe if you're interested, I could do it. But you can just get the gist of that just as easily in writing, I think, rather than me explaining the techniques in a video form. The actual techniques, it's helpful sometimes to be able to see it visually when someone's explaining it. So that's all for today. We'll have a break from these videos for a bit, and if you want to have, if there's any topics that you're particularly interested in for me to talk about, being aware that I am a physio in background, physiotherapist, so I can pretty much work with anything in terms of with dementia except medication. That physios don't medicate, so we have not got a good knowledge on medication, so that's the one subject that I won't be presenting on, but other than that, most areas I can work with and discuss, except if nursing care, basic nursing cares, it's better really that nurses explain that. But in terms of the practical aspects of, you know, the comings and goings and getting things set up for mum so that she can manage better at a unit and have a better quality of life, all those topics I can happily talk on.